Yo to the community, man. Welcome in, welcome in. It's another edition of Cashed It with Chris, the NBA betting show, powered by the Forever Basketball Podcast Network. Be sure to check those guys out over on all of the social media platforms. Growing company. Excited to be working with them as well. We have man, we got a lot to get into. I'm gonna try to keep the show today to about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, which we should be able to get there. Just because we don't have a big slate today, but let's go ahead and start with the intros and what happened yesterday. So we saw a lot of different things. I think a lot of it was, a tad bit surprising, which is why even though I went 0-3 overall yesterday, I went 0-1 on show plays yesterday. I gave out the Miami Heat, and we'll get into all of that. But the Miami Heat team total under 105 and a half, and we saw the Miami Heat look abysmal yesterday. They looked terrible yesterday. I knew that Miami would take a step back. I mean, I think the bookmakers knew that, based on the win total going down, being projected as low as it was based on how they finished last season. But I didn't think they looked that bad, especially without Zach LaVine. But shout out to the guys, man. I don't like to discredit players. I want to give them their respect and their praise as well. And I watched the game. I watched majority of the game. I was flipping back and forth through a lot of the channels, of course. DeSumo looked really, really good yesterday. I think at one point in the game in the third quarter, he had like 17, 4 and 4, was like 3 for 4 from three. Miami was a shell of themselves. I would have expected that if they were on the road, but I didn't really expect that. I thought that they would come out and punch a Chicago team that I thought the focal point would have been DeMar DeRozan, which it was. I think DeMar had 37 last night. I thought that they would have, been able to just, I guess, force other guys to beat him. And DeSumo was that guy. He stepped up yesterday, played really, really big for them. So hats off to them. That was the only play I gave out on the show yesterday morning, which brings the record to 2-1 overall on the season. Let's see. So we were up zero point 0.8 units of the 0.87 units off the over, and then we were also up 1.2 units on Jalen Brown. So we were up what is that? About 1 unit if you look at the math. So we're about even down 0.11 units. So on the season, but it's a young season, man. I think we saw a lot of things yesterday that I want to get into a breakdown, but that the breakdown could realistically be the entire show just because of how many games it was yesterday. So some key takeaways for me. I was trying to watch as many of these games as possible. Of course, I'm gonna go back and tune into some of them today as well. And shout out to everybody for being here. I see you guys in the comment section. Hit the like button for me if you can. Good morning, Mitch. Good morning. Yeah, I did. I exited out. My fault. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, good morning to you guys, man. I appreciate you guys for being here, for sure. As always, hit the like button for me. Tell a friend to tell a friend, as I always say. But let's get into it. Let's do a little bit of a recap. I don't want to do the recap for too long, and then we'll get into today's games, and I'll discuss and share a play and give you guys some information that I think will be beneficial, moving forward for tonight's action. So the Orlando Magic and the Detroit Pistons. I had to lean towards the Pistons. I talked about that game. I broke it down. I gave some analysis. Just didn't want to back Detroit at home. As a favorite, right? As a dog, yeah, but as a favorite, no. But I talked about last year they covered as a favorite at home 2 of 7 times. They were 2 and 5, ATS and straight up at home as a favorite, and both of those wins came against Orlando. So if you followed the trend, that simple trend, and you won that bet because they started slow. Orlando came out, was up 28-17 at the end of the first quarter. But they fought back. They won the second quarter, the third quarter, and barely lost the fourth quarter. Ended up winning the game by 4, so they covered the spread and won the game outright. And Bonchero looked really, really good. I think his name has to be mentioned. The dunk that he had, I forgot exactly who it was over, but crazy dunk and put up. He was first rookie to score. What I think it was 25, have 25 and 5 in his first NBA game since LeBron James did it. So shout out to him. Bright future over there in Orlando. The Wizards actually look good. They end up winning by 7 against the Pacers, and I won't go through all of these games. On the show for the NBA Crispy Captain show in the evening, I gave out Jalen Green, who looked good. He shot enough shots. He just didn't hit them. Shout out to the guys in Atlanta for being able to play a little defense. Houston didn't score as many points as I think they expected. They thought they would. They ended up losing 117 to 107. The Pelicans, which I leaned towards, I didn't end up playing it. Thought it was a watch and observe type game. Ended up covering that spread by 25 as they won by 22. And absolutely just knocked Brooklyn out from the get-go in that one. Like I said, I could take a deeper dive into all of these games, but I won't. Just real quick, just wanted to go through a few things. The Knicks played Memphis really good. They ended up losing by 3. That game went to overtime. The Cleveland and Toronto game was really good. I was flipping back and forth between that one. Darius Garland went out with the eye injury early, but Cleveland fought hard, ended up losing that game by 3. Toronto had a amazing comeback, won the fourth quarter 32 to 21 to pull away in that one. And then you get OKC, man. I kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday after the show, but OKC is an away favorite. As an away dog. They just continue to keep covering spreads going back to last year. They covered yesterday by 4. I think they covered as away dogs last year at a 67 or close to a 70% rate yesterday. And they played the Timberwolves close last night. Timberwolves actually had to fight hard for that win last night. They ended up winning by 7, but that spread was 10. So that's a spot I'll be looking to get behind is OKC plus the points throughout the season. They just always play hard. Charlotte absolutely smacked San Antonio, even without LaMelo. That was crazy. And I gave out Keldon Johnson, who didn't shoot the ball. He didn't shoot the ball terribly, but he didn't shoot the ball as well as I thought he would. Charlotte actually looked like they played a little bit of defense, which I thought was interesting. And they absolutely drugged San Antonio in San Antonio. Keldon Johnson didn't get back in the fourth quarter. And, of course, we finished 3 points short. I'm extremely upset and frustrated about that one because I do think that if he played the fourth quarter, he would have got the 3 points that we needed. But yeah, I don't want to go through too many of these. Phoenix did end up winning, but they didn't cover. Dallas covered. They won by 2. And Portland beat Sacramento last night, 115 to 108. Utah upsetting win over Denver, ended up covering by 28.5 points. Yeah, man. And yesterday I talked about, discipline. I talked about unit size. I talked about not going too heavy. I finished 0-3 overall yesterday. Not extremely concerned at all. They were all 1-unit plays. I know that we're going to get those units back. And I still feel solid about all the plays. I still feel like I didn't force anything. And I think that's, what helps me sleep better at night and what, doesn't get me extremely frustrated about it. But moving on, let's get into today's games, man. So we got the Bucks and the 76ers first. There's only 2 games late today. We got the Bucks and the 76ers. Line opened up at hold on. All right. So yeah, line opened up at 2. It has since shifted drastically. Well, not drastically, but some money's come in on Philly, which I kind of agree with. The line is now at 4. So you can get a 4 pretty much everywhere. The total opened at 225, and it hasn't really moved a lot at all. Looking at this game, there's a few things that I want to make sure I mention. First thing is, of course, this is the Bucks' first game of the season. We saw the 76ers go to Boston and not really look too good offensively. Boston is one of the better defensive teams in the league. They will be throughout the season just based on what they built last year under Coach Ime Udoka. And just the elite talent that they have on the defensive end, their ability to be able to pretty much switch everything. They play with elite intensity. So I don't think, you can really. Philly's going to look a lot different up against the, championship contending teams, which the Bucks are a championship contending team. But I think without Middleton, they struggle in this spot just a tad bit. Watching them throughout the preseason, granted, just preseason, but they didn't win a preseason game. Their 3-point defense, which I'll talk about in a second, has been atrocious over the last couple years under Coach Bud, and I think that could, play a factor in in matchups against elite teams. I'll just say that, right? So this is gonna be the Bucks' first game. It's gonna be the 76ers' first home game. Of course, that game will be played without Chris Middleton. He's not expected to be back for a little while. At least not the start of the season. He's going to be out. I can't remember exactly how long, but we don't. He's not going to be a part of this game. Also, Pat Connaughton is also not going to be a part in this game. And when you start, losing these guys who have tremendous impact, I like Pat Connaughton. I think that they need him in order to be successful, especially if you're not going to have Middleton. Then it starts to get a little tricky, right? Of course, they have, they still have Drew Holiday. He's getting a little older up there in age. Then you have guys like Jordan Noir, and then of course you have Javon Carter. So it's Bobby Portis is still there, Brooke Lopez is still there, but it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a little difficult for them. I like Philly tonight. I haven't placed the bet, but let me just give you guys a little more insight on that. So 3-point shooting wise, I talked about this a little bit. The Bucks 3-point defense has ranked 30th 3 of the last 4 years under Coach Bud. And y'all know it's only 30 teams in the league, so that means they've been last. And the time that they wasn't ranked 30th, which was the 2021 season, they ranked 28th. So this team has been horrible defensively against the three, and we've targeted guys against them, specifically for threes last year. Which is why I'm gonna get to a player prop here in a second. But continuing on, as far as the total in this one, like I said, it opened at 225 and it's kind of stayed there. The total is 6-1 in the last 7 meetings to the over. The over, I'm sorry, is 6-1 in the last 7 meetings. And I could see that again. I could see this game going over 225, but I don't think I'm really interested in the total right now. As far as ATS, the Bucks do kind of own the 76ers. If you look back at just historically, they just play them really, really well. I can't remember exactly what they are straight up, but I want to say it's like 6-1, 5-1, something like that. ATS wise, the Bucks are 4-1 in the last 5 meetings. However, when you take out that's just Bucks versus 76ers. When you take out Chris Middleton last year, the Bucks went 7-9 straight up, and 7-9 ATS last year. So that's something to take into consideration because he is a focal point of their offense focal point of their defense and offense. The guy can play defense as well. The Bucks offense took a 6-point step back last season without Middleton. They scored 6 fewer points last year. Then the 76ers, they, as far as the 3-point shooting, they shot 38% against the Boston Celtics in the first game of the season. They also shot the 3-point ball pretty well during the preseason. Now they're at home. They get and Coach Bud, to his credit, he has acknowledged that the 3-point defense is bad. I just don't think that they can do a lot about it at all. It's an effort thing, how they close out. Maybe I like Philly at home tonight. I would be looking at a guy like Maxey. Maxey is a guy who I know a lot of people was on his threes in the first game against Boston, not last night, but on opening night, and I would probably be looking at his threes tonight. I also, we got player props out. I lean Giannis over the 30.5 points. Last season, he started the season off against Brooklyn, which, is a horrific defense, but he went for 32. So he's a guy that's going to be ready at the beginning of the season. He's also scored 40, 32, and 31 points in the last 3 starts versus Philly. But of course, PJ Tucker is on the other side now. And that'll probably make it a more difficult matchup. But for me, psychologically, and I've heard Giannis talk about this in post-game interviews, he likes that challenge, right? I think he'd much rather have a good / great defender on him versus somebody that he knows can't guard him. And I do think that the lack of having Chris Middleton will mean that Giannis could go for, Giannis could get 30 with Chris Middleton in. So I think, opening night, the lights will be bright, at least, season opener for them. I like him to go over his points tonight. I didn't play that official, but just wanted to kind of give you guys some information on that. And then I talked about Maxey. Anytime I see Maxey points under 20, I'm probably going to take it. We know the Bucks like to play at an extremely fast pace. Maxey points are 18.5. His threes are 2.5 right now, and they're plus money pretty much everywhere you look. He averaged the most 3-point attempts during the preseason, and he shot 56% from 3. I mentioned how the Bucks 3-point defense has struggled. Maxey was 2 for 5 against a really solid defensive team in Boston that only allowed teams to make 20% of their 3-pointers, which was the best in the preseason. So I really like Maxey a lot in this spot. But that could be James. It could be James Harden again. I do think that James probably will draw Drew Holiday as far as a matchup goes. So two player props that I'm looking at, but I haven't locked those in. If you guys tune into the evening show, I'll do a little more extensive research, read what some of these beat writers are talking about, and just be a tad bit more prepared. And that's what this show is kind of just kind of giving you guys my angles and my insight, bringing some stats and some statistics that'll be helpful for you guys as far as making your plays for the day. And then that's kind of that game, right? So like I said, plays that I really like in that game, but haven't really played them, and I probably will get there with Philly on the 4. I wish I would have got it at 2, of course, but I do think that this team is primed to come up. And I know they started their season off with the Celtics, the championship contending team. Now they get the Bucks, who the Bucks actually are the most favorite team. They have they're the team that's favored the most to win the championship, which I thought was a tad bit crazy because I don't necessarily agree with that. I know that they get Middleton back, but I struggle with backing them just because of how bad they can be defensively at times, and I don't know if they have enough off the bench. Their bench isn't as deep as it used to be. So, take that for what you want to take it with, but I think that I like the 76ers tonight. Like I said, I haven't played it yet. Maybe it'll be official later. Moving along, so 76, just a recap of that game. I like the 76ers minus the 4, even though I haven't played it and I won't go official with it right now. I also like Joel Embiid to go over his 30.5 points. I think that was like a minus 122 line. And then Maxey, his points over 18.5, pretty much anytime under 20. I'm probably going to take Maxey. I like Maxey a lot. And then his threes. I also think that tonight's going to be the night where the Bucks historically just let teams make a lot of threes. I wouldn't mind taking Maxey on a ladder tonight, but I haven't put that bet in either. But those are my 3 plays from that first game. Moving on, I want to like I said, I want to keep this to about 20 minutes. So let me get into the second game of the night. So we get the Lakers and the Clippers. This line actually opened up in favor of the Clippers at a -4. Which man, I think was a short line. And I'm actually upset that I didn't get it at 4. I talked about this yesterday though. If you were in the spaces for the NBA Crispy Cap'n show in the 5 p.m. Eastern one, then I talked about already taking the Clippers. 5.5. I do think that the line will probably move as well. And I'll give you guys a few reasons why, but for me, this one is not really. I mean, you can get into the analytics of it if you want to, but I just think the Clippers have a much better team. I think they're deeper. I think I would give the coaching nod to Coach Ty Lue, even though I like Darvin Ham and what he's trying to implement in LA. You guys know I'm a Laker fan as well, so it's really hard for me to bet against my team. It's really hard for me to bet on them. But until they address the shooting woes, I think that I'm not really looking to back them at all. And if I see the Lakers up against a championship contending team and the spread is less than 8, I'm probably just going to jump on it. That if I'm just being real about it. I think that the Clippers are a much deeper team. They have a lot. Their second unit is light years better than the Lakers' second unit. Kendrick Nunn, I think, is good. Devin Vassell, I think, is good. I had some numbers that I wanted to bring up. One of the things I think that is extremely important is looking at this team, looking at this matchup last year. The Clippers dogged my Lakers. They were 4-0 straight up. I think 3-1 ATS. They covered the spread 3 of those games, and I think they won by average of 6 points. That was before Kawhi Leonard came back. So this year, you get a team, that returns Kawhi. Paul George will be there for the beginning of the season. They also, just have other guys that are going to fill the void and play big roles. Nicholas Batum, Robert Covington, Nerlin. Who am I missing? The list just goes on and on, man. They're just an extremely deep team. I really like the Los Angeles Clippers tonight. I'm upset that I didn't get the line at 4, but I think it's still value. And I still kind of project that this line will close closer to 6.5. So I think there's still, some money that can be made on taking the Clippers right now. As far as player props, I didn't really look at a lot in this one, and that'll be something that I'll kind of look at for the evening show as well. But I do have the Clippers -5.5 in my pocket. Who is Jeff? What's up, Jeff? Appreciate you being here, man. Think it's an advantage or disadvantage that Milwaukee hasn't played yet? I actually think it's a disadvantage, Jeff. I think, and that's a great question too. I think it's a disadvantage that Milwaukee hasn't played yet. Philly having a game underneath their belt. Also, you want to take teams on the bounce back. You want to take them after they've lost. And I think Philly comes in, they're hungry, to get a win for the home crowd tonight. It'll be the first game of the season there, of course. So I lean towards I definitely lean towards Philly in that spot. Want to see how the minutes stack up for the Clippers with all the guys wing guys. Yeah, for sure. Philly first quarter. I don't know about that, Fabian. I got to look more into that. I like to take a deep dive. I also just don't want to force a lot of things at the very beginning, but I do think that Philly comes out motivated, and I could see that for sure. OVO said looking at Embiid over 1.5 threes at +144 on FanDuel. He hit 2 plus in 7 of the last 10 meetings versus the Bucks. Hit 3 in 6 of those games. He shot 6 on Tuesday. That could be a good look because he'll probably draw, Brook Lopez, and anytime you can get Brook Lopez again away from the rim on defense, he's not going to be in a natural guarding position. So I actually like that look. I'm not playing it, but I do like that look. Giannis rebounds a steal tonight. I don't know exactly what you mean on that one, Boogie, but yeah, that like I said, the eye test for me with the Lakers. And like I said, anytime I see the Lakers going against a championship contending team that can knock down the three, that has a much better bench, and that can play defense, I'm probably gonna fade the Lakers into the foreseeable future. They're extremely top heavy with LeBron and AD, and until those bench guys, pick it up, and prove their worth, I can't back the Lakers. Not and it sucks to say because like I said, it's my team, but that's what I would look at. That's what I would look in this one for you guys. And that's the only official play that I'm gonna give out is the Clippers -5.5 is what I got it at yesterday when I locked it in. Josh, what's up, bro? Appreciate you being here, Jay Jones. Paul George over 4.5 assists. I can see that. Kawhi points over 22.5. Hustle hard. I can see that as well. Like I said, I haven't even gotten to the player part market, if I'm being honest with you guys. But I appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, if you're over on YouTube, definitely hit the like button. Definitely drop your plays over here as well. The morning show will continue. I'm doing one every single morning. Appreciate you, Akbar, for being in the chat. I'm doing one every single morning, 7 a.m. You guys be sure to tap in with me. Then another show at 5:15, the Crispy Captain NBA show. 5:15 Eastern time every single day, live on Twitter Spaces. This show is it's on Twitter, but it's not in the Twitter space, and it's of course on YouTube as well. Appreciate you guys for being here. Appreciate the love in the chat as well. Best of luck to you guys today, and tap in with me at 5:15 Eastern time. I'll give out more looks as I take a deeper dive into some of these player props and try to find a few angles. But again, 2-game slate. I'm not saying that the markets are going to be extremely tight. We don't know that for sure. But what we do know is that on a 2-game slate, the books typically have they can hone in on these props. So I like to tell guys to kind of take it easy, don't force plays. It's the beginning of the season. Best of luck on all your bets, and hopefully I see you guys at 5:15. Again, the show is powered by Forever Basketball Podcast Network. Be sure to check out my guys over there, and have a great day, you guys. I'll see you guys at 5:15, man.